Chicago is a major architectural tourist attraction. Chicago is also home to some of the tallest buildings in the world. But how did Chicago come to have such an amazing architectural view?
It all started after the Great Chicago Fire, and the realization that closely built wooden houses was not a very good idea. The fire began on Sunday, October the 8th, and burned until Tuesday, October 10th, 1871.
Chicago was rebuilt afterwards, and this time with architects taking into account fire safety measures and the materials used to build the buildings. The Great Chicago Fire brought many architects into the city to help rebuild the city. The first modern skyscrapers came about during the early 1880s, with architects beginning to use steel frames in construction and large areas of plate glass.
William Lee Barron's Home Insurance Building is the first Chicago building to be constructed with the use of steel for its structural frame instead of iron, and considered to be the very first skyscraper. The World Columbian Exposition is also known as the Chicago World's Fair, and was a fair held in Chicago to commemorate Columbus's 100th year anniversary since his arrival to America.
This fair brought over 27 million people to Chicago, which proves how architecture can play such a big role in the population and amount of tourists, along with boost the prestige of a city. This fair helped boost Chicago's image as an architecturally amazing city. Today, Chicago is just that, an architecturally amazing city, and an innovative city in terms of how buildings have come to be made as time passed by. By the 1930s, Chicago was already beginning to take its shape as an architecturally amazing city. The use of structural steel frames in buildings allowed buildings to be made stronger and taller than ever before, as opposed to the limited height with the traditional use of wood, bricks, and mortar. Tall Chicago structures, such as the Aon Center, the second tallest structure in Chicago, was built using a tubular steel frame structural system with V-shaped perimeter columns to resist earthquakes, reduce the building from swaying. These new building techniques created larger, more attractive buildings, and as stated before, have allowed cities to grow in population, attract more tourists, and simply add on to the prestige of a city. And the birthplace of skyscrapers, Chicago, was where this all began.
What's it like growing up in Chicago?
It's fun, man. I'm happy I'm from there, actually. Like, anybody that's from Chicago definitely has a lot of pride where they're from, respect Chicago, and it's a great place to be where you can do anything you want to do while you're there, no matter what time it is. And the people there are friendly and they're positive people.
Yeah, I can remember taking that 20-minute, 30-minute drive over to Cabrini Green and the Robert Taylor homes. I mean, they no longer exist.
Yeah.
But it was all about the playground. It was a lot of playground legends come from Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago is definitely the way that one thing you gotta have heart.
Yeah.
In Chicago, if you're out there playing,
right?
If you don't have no heart, people are definitely gonna take advantage of you when you're on the court.
What was your favorite place to eat at and hang out at when you were in Chicago at home?
You know, everything was different for me, man, where my background is a little bit different. Like, the favorite places, like, I didn't eat at a restaurant, I would say, until, like, high school. So you talking about, like, favorite restaurants and all that stuff, it was stuff that was in my neighborhood.
Yeah, the
like
local
corner store, like local stores and stuff like that. So everything was different. It's definitely a different place, and I'm happy that I'm from there, though.
To Chicago next because I need to do a profile on the emerging scene of Chicago music.
Yeah.
Because we go back to like Twister,
Oh,
Do or
come
Die,
on,
right?
Man.
Like,
Chicago, we didn't have anyone but we only had one person that was Kanye.
Yeah.
And for all the like younger artists for him to put them on, that's huge, man. Showed a lot, like, man, that shows a lot, like, that means a lot, I would say. I want to be great. I'm gonna be great. There's no doubt about it.